Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Okay. Let's check on YouTube. See, I left it on for 10 minutes this time, so that at least it would have time to get to YouTube and start the live broadcast. So I haven't been able to find it. Let's see if I got it there. New friend request. I don't need that right now. Okay, it's not coming up. Live. Come on. Show up. No, it's not showing up. I don't know if any of you guys are on live at YouTube. I mean, it's kind of irritating that it's not coming up in the places that it's supposed to. It's not pushing to the places that it's supposed to. Although every single time after I get done, it shows up on the live stream of YouTube later on. So you can watch the live stream later, which doesn't really make much sense because I've already got it edited and done. Oh, well, I mean, at least there's a few places that I know it's coming through live at. And the live broadcast is not necessarily the most important part of this broadcast. It's what you can watch later after I edit it. But I like that you guys can join me live. And as I get more and more comfortable and familiar with everything that I'm doing, and you'd think I would be after 31 times, but I'm so scared to switch over to a different platform that gives me more integration with a live audience because I'm scared I'll break everything and I don't have time to try it out. And this is working. This OBS is working fine. And so that is kind of what I've been going with right now. So we're going to keep on with this. And if you guys do have any chat, I do look over here and check and see, and it's supposed to come together, and the chat's supposed to show up for me. But sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So please feel free to discuss. I'm not saying that eventually, like I said, we'll be able to get to something where we'll have more of a live podcast where we'll do maybe the podcast through Theology in a Year and then afterwards discuss. We'll see. We're just getting our feet wet, though. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. What shirt am I wearing? My Wayne Enterprises shirt. Nobody can see my Wayne Enterprises shirt. It's just Wayne Enterprises. Wayne Enterprises. That's a cool shirt. I got 2 of those. Okay, and if you guys didn't notice, I've got all kinds of superhero stuff in the background. That's another thing I want to keep on doing. I want to start trying to have you guys find stuff in the background because I got lots of cool stuff. Oh, hold on just a second. Let me check something. Let me go over. How do I do this? That. Okay, we're fine. Okay, let's get started. Welcome to Theology Unplugged. I'm Michael Patton, and this is session number 31 of Through Theology in a Year, where I'm going from beginning to end all of systematic theology. I'm essentially teaching through what is called the Theology program, which you can find at credocourses.com. If you go to credocourses.com and search the Theology program, you can find it there, and that's 60 sessions of systematic theology, contains workbooks, contains everything. I taught it many years ago, so don't whenever you watch it, know that is me teaching. It really is, but it was a long time ago. So that is available, still available, and that's what I'm basically updating it right now as I go through this, but extending it quite a bit as well. This is good for people who want to use the theology program and teach through it, maybe get some background and kind of watch these videos before they go and teach or before they go and lead a small group through the theology program. But it's essentially just a deep, deep discipleship program where I'm not holding back. This is the kind of stuff, what you're learning here is the same stuff you would learn at seminary. And I'm trying to do it in a comprehensive and systematic way, building from one piece to another. So that is what we're in the middle of if you're just joining us. And if you would like to find out more, go to patreon.com. That is where I kind of keep everything going that I do. That's where you can support if you find this beneficial, if you believe in what I'm doing, if you've been coming here for a while and you're saying, hey, you know, this is something I do believe in now, and I like the way that he teaches and he's going through this. That would be a great thing to do, is to support me there, because that's the way I make my living. And so you can go there and check it out. You can also go to, like I said, credocourses.com, and that has lots of different courses that I've produced over the years, both myself and with other scholars, full seminary courses that are designed for lay people, not dumbed down at all. You can get Gary Habermas on the resurrection. You can get Doug Groothuis on apologetics. You can get Dan Wallace on textual criticism. These are all the things that whenever I was in seminary, I said, I've got to make these available to everybody. And I've been doing that for 25 years now, or nearly 25 years, trying to do that, and hopefully I've been doing well. But this is another iteration of my calling to make theology accessible. So let's continue. Last time we left off we've been talking about postmodernism for a while. Really, the bigger umbrella right now is still Christian epistemology. And we're looking at, how do Christians come to a knowledge? How do we formulate our knowledge? How do we know things that we know? How can we justify our knowledge or our claims to knowledge? And can we do that, or do we just assume it? This particular section of the course is going through and saying, let's not assume it. Let's build it from the ground up and figure out what is the best methodology, both from a contemporary way we're looking at it and a historical way we're looking at it, for Christians to be able to make claims of knowledge. I know that seems so basic, and I know that you're probably saying, Michael, we just use the Bible. Well, that's true to some degree, but we do, whenever we are doing our epistemology, how we know things, we use a lot more than the Bible. It's not that the Bible is denigrated because we use other sources, but we use more than the Bible in our authority for how we know what we know. A prime example of that is just simply language itself and the logic that has to come with language. You bring that to the scripture. You bring your English. I bring my English language. And so whenever I read the scripture, I am trusting in the traditions of the church and the abilities of people to translate. There's all kinds of authorities that I'm trusting in. And we're trying to go through and trying to build from the ground up how it is we know what we know. So we've gone through a full history and kind of said, what's the history of Western epistemology? What's the history of the way Westerners have come to know things? And we've gone through where we have moved from a period where we had a lot of confidence in ourselves, in the church, to a lot of confidence in rationality at the time of the Reformation, to a day today where it's very confusing because nobody has confidence in anything. Nobody has confidence in you. They don't have confidence in me. You sitting here watching me, if this is the first time, I don't blame you for doubting me. I don't blame you for approaching this with skepticism. You need to. That's a responsible approach, because who's to say who is right? What's the methodology that you come to decide who is right and who is wrong? And I'm teaching theology, what I believe to be, if I'm right about Christian theology, the most important thing that you can know on this planet. In this life, there is nothing more important than our knowledge and understanding of God and what we do with that. And if I'm teaching you this and I'm asking you, hey, I want you to take this and I want you to commit everything you are over to God. I want you to commit everything you are over to the Christian belief. I'm asking a whole lot. So I don't automatically expect people to join in with me, because we live in a postmodern world where everybody is skeptical of everybody else. And there's reasons for that. It's not unfounded. So that's what we're moving forward with. So last time we ended talking about a modernist epistemology compared to a postmodernist epistemology. Basically, an epistemology, how we know things, of reason, rationality, to one of skepticism and doubt, which is in postmodernism. How do we marry those two, though? Because we understand both sides. We've got to use rationality, but we have to approach things doubting people. We can't automatically hand over such essential trust, hand over our minds that we believe God created to other people just because they say, I'm a Christian, or I love the Lord, or whatever it may be. They may be well-meaning, but it doesn't necessarily mean they have knowledge that is worthy of our acquiescence. So that's where we're at. Let's see here. Go back to, I should have this down. PowerPoint. Okay. So, through theology in a year, what is the Christian view of truth? We've already looked at the modern view of truth and the postmodern view of truth. Now let's look at what the Christian view of truth is. Christian view of truth, first, we need to start with this, that the Christian view of truth, we do believe in what's called the correspondence view of truth. We believe that there is truth out there as Christians. There is an objective truth that exists whether someone believes it or not. And that objectivity is grounded in an eternal God. Remember last time when we talked about the modern view of truth, we said the same thing, but we said that objective reality is grounded in nature. Well, as Christians, we would say it can't be grounded in nature because nature is dynamic itself. Therefore, that would make it non-objective. If nature is changing, then a truth is changing along with nature. But we as Christians come up and we say you can have truth. You can have true knowledge of things because that knowledge is grounded in something eternal, timeless, above time and space, not caught up in the dynamics that we go through in our lives. So we look to the eternal to find that truth. Okay, and what else? The law of non-contradiction is foundational in a Christian epistemology. We believe in the law of non-contradiction to such a degree, listen to this, and hang with me while I say this, God cannot even violate this principle since it is a logical impossibility. God cannot violate the law of non-contradiction. Doesn't that sound bad? Are you kind of getting iffy whenever I say that? God cannot do something? Well, let me put it this way. Can God lie? Okay, you'd probably say no. Even the Bible says he can't lie. Can God cease to be God? You say no, he's eternal. I mean, if he ever ceased to be God, that means he's never God. So there are things that God cannot do. God cannot be other than who he is. And we believe, as I said just a minute ago, that logic itself, rationality itself, objective truth is grounded not in nature but in him. Therefore, he is the objective truth. He cannot cease to be the objective truth. He cannot decide one day, I'm going to lie, and I'm no longer going to be the truth. He is always the truth. And so therefore, whenever we say that rationality is so important, it is, because what we're doing is we're looking for objectivity in something grounded, in something that cannot change. Okay, so we go through that and we say, here's the key motto. Now listen to this. This is key. I love this passage, and I think this is one of the most overlooked passages in the Bible whenever it comes to epistemology. And just read this along with me and then get the idea here. The secret things belong to the Lord, but the things revealed belong to us and our sons forever, that we may observe all the words of this law. The secret things and the things revealed. This is what God is telling the Israelite community whenever he is sending them in, giving them the second law. And he says, listen, there may be secret things that are out there. There are things out there that I am not going to tell you. There are things out there that are beyond your grasp. There are things up there that I know, but they're secret to me. I keep them to myself, whether by will and saying I'm not going to reveal them, or by necessity because I can't reveal them. So those are the secret things that belong to the Lord. So we as Christians start with this principle in our epistemology. There are secret things. There are mysteries. That's such a key. There are mysteries in the Christian faith. You got to start there, okay? You got to understand how important mystery is to Christian epistemology. But at the same time, so are the things revealed. We believe that there are things that God has revealed. And if God has said he revealed them, then he can reveal them. It's not as if he's saying, I can't reveal these things because I'm not powerful enough to reveal them. If he has revealed them and claimed to reveal them to us, then they are revealable. we can understand them. The secret things belong to the Lord, but the things revealed belong to us forever. Okay? So this puts us on a trek through the secret things, through the mysterious things, and through the things revealed. And I want to take you into church history. This is such an important thing because we're going to walk through church history, a lot of it today, and I'm going to be giving you a lot of quotes. And I hope this does the job because, I was up at 3 o'clock this morning praying about this and preparing and going over it and over it because I have taught on this many times very generally, but I wanted to really, really nail down the essence of walking through church history and understanding the delicate balance that a Christian has between mystery and revelation. Okay, so if you were to go back and we were to study church history, what we would find is we would find this word called apophatic. Apophatic. Apophatic theology is literally negative theology or a theology of negation. Apophatic theology sees God and much of theology as beyond understanding, therefore beyond definite positive assertions. Finite people such as you and I cannot understand an infinite God, but we can understand what he is not. That is the negative part of it. So he's uncreated, immutable, infinite, immortal. We don't state it positively, we state it negatively. Otherwise, the apophatic theology of the early church, as they thought about revelation and as they worked the Christian faith out, they said there's no way a finite mind. We're in time. We are so limited. And if God is infinite, he is so incredibly far beyond us that we cannot comprehend him. Now, it doesn't mean that they were saying we cannot know him at all. They were just saying when we think about him, even our thoughts are insufficient to fully realize who and what God is. Even our doctrines, even our dogmatic assertions, they may catch what God is to a certain degree, but they cannot catch the fullness of what God is. So it's a great, apophatic theology is such an important thing to start with. Again, theology of mystery. You and I as Christians, or at least the Christian faith, we believe that there is mystery out there. And we believe that mystery is very important to our epistemology. Okay, so let me give you a few quotes from people in church history, some great theologians in church history who spoke to this. The first one here is Basil the Great. He's one of the Cappadocian fathers. And it says, the human mind cannot grasp the essence of God. Isn't that great? The human mind cannot grasp the essence of God. We are unable to form a comprehensive notion of it. Comprehensive is the key word there. Even if we apply ourselves as much as possible, we will find ourselves unable to comprehend the nature of God. That is apophaticism. That is apophatic. That is apophatic theology, theology of negation. And I told you before, there's a few words here and there that I'm going to put out here that are very important. Apophaticism is apophatic, or apophaticism is incredibly important. I do want you to get that down. I do want you to think about what apophaticism is and how that applies, because it can become a grounding part of who you are in Christ. Okay, next we have Gregory of Nazianzus, another of the Cappadocian fathers. These are early Eastern fathers. For to comprehend the incomprehensible is wholly impossible, and to declare the ineffable unknowable. That's what ineffable means. What a great doctrine that sometimes we don't even know about. We know about omniscience, we know about omnipresence, but what about ineffable? That God is beyond knowing completely. The ineffable, unspeakable is a contradiction of terms. It is enough for me to affirm that the divine is beyond all affirmations, yet beyond all negation. For in both cases, the assertion of what he is not conveys some faint idea of what he is. I love that. That is just so great. That's why we say he's immutable. We don't, in that sense, we're not defining him positively. We're just saying he's immutable. He cannot change. immutable, cannot change. But we're not saying exactly what he is. This is the direction of the early church, especially the Eastern tradition. So right now I'm talking about the Eastern tradition as it developed in the early church. And truthfully, you guys ought to know this, that it's still that way today. And it's the major difference between Eastern Orthodoxy and Protestantism and Roman Catholicism from the West. Protestantism and Roman Catholicism are Western versions of Christianity. The Eastern Orthodox is an Eastern version of Christianity, and the Eastern Orthodox will always emphasize apophaticism, apophatic theology, theology of mystery, more than they do cataphaticism, or at least generally speaking. Okay, next we go to Pseudo-Dionysius the Areopagite. Now, I don't approve of everything Pseudo-Dionysius says. As a matter of fact, he's Pseudo-Dionysius, not even really Dionysius, but I love reading this. I mean, because it does stretch your mind to a new place. So this is one of my favorite authors, especially lately. I just pick him up and I start reading it. It just blows my mind. But Pseudo-Dionysius says, we pray that we may come to this darkness which is beyond light, and without seeing and without knowing, to see and to know that which is above vision and knowledge, by the very fact of not seeing and not knowing. Isn't that great? We know by the very fact of not seeing and not knowing. For this is truly to see and to know, and to celebrate supersessionally the supersessional, super unknown, and hidden God in a manner beyond knowing. What a great statement. What a great quote. I mean, it's not only beautiful, but it's so beautifully true when we're talking about who God is and the mystery we approach him with. Here's another one from the same guy. The divinest knoweth not God, that which is known through unknowing, because the grasp of all reasoning, I know, hang with it, just you got to read it a few times. By way of the mystical union, we ascend to that which transcends all being and knowledge, and thus, knowing nothing, we reach to that which is beyond all knowledge. Isn't that great? I mean, this is a developed form of apophaticism in the early church. And I'm not saying this is the only place we go, as we'll see, but this is so important for us as Christians to grab a hold of and see as an essential part of not only our history, but the secret things that belong to the Lord. Don't forget. Okay, and then you have St. Augustine. Even St. Augustine, a Western church father, mainly a Western church father, understands this. He says, if you have understood, then what you have understood, it is not God. Isn't that great? If you have understood it and you think you fully get it, it's not God that you're understanding. That's what St. Augustine says. If you were able to understand, you have understood something else instead of God. What a beautiful statement. I mean, it's just incredible stuff. Now, even here's another thing that is really important for you to grab a hold of. There's something called the I was about to say the apokatastasis. That's different, close in the way it sounds, but epictasis. And this is whenever we talk about the progress of the soul towards God. It's a perpetual progress, emphasizing that journey and knowledge of experiencing the infinite one. And this was another kind of development within the I keep on wanting to say that, the apophatic theology. And let me give you a quote from that about this. This is Gregory of Nyssa, another one of the three Cappadocian church fathers. He says, for the divine nature, whatever it may be in itself, surpasses the mental concept. We have learned that its essence is ineffable and incomprehensible, and we say that every capacity of our intellects falls short to apprehend it. In other words, this is a development later on that says we will always be striving to attain That's what that word means, to strive to attain to God, and therefore we will have all eternity to do so. So not only is apophatic theology something that is present and necessary because we're here on the earth and we're limited and we're finite, but we'll always be finite. We'll always be limited. We'll always be learning, if you can put it that way. We'll never comprehend an infinite God. And so I might be teaching this on the new earth. I often say that because that is very much within our Christian tradition. It's not as if you get to heaven or you get to the new earth and all of a sudden we have infinite minds. We still have finite minds, and we still have the glory and the greatness of understanding the mystery of God for all eternity. So what a great passage to look at whenever we talk about that. Now, I want to turn your attention to its counterpoint, the Cataphatic theology. Cataphatic theology, in distinction to apophatic theology, is affirmation theology. It is positive theology. Now, we're not going to be able to get into that anymore today because, there's just so much more to go, so much more to look at in church history. But I wanted you to see this first as we talk about this today. This is key. As a Christian, we believe in the secret things, and you need to have a primary important place in your theology for things that are secret, that God keeps to himself. And I think this is going to help us way a long way. Some people don't like mystery. Some people don't. See, this is the key, and I'll talk about this tomorrow a lot more. But a lot of us being Westerners, I'm a Westerner, you're probably a Westerner, you like to figure things out. You like to make everything work perfectly. You like all the pieces of the puzzle put in the right place. But God says, number one, you'll never be able to get the puzzle done. You will never get but also number two, there's these secret things. Maybe I've kept some puzzle pieces to myself, and I'm just asking whether or not you will trust me. It's such a big part of my theology, not only in theology in general, whenever I come upon things like the Trinity or the sovereignty of God and the responsibility of man, God's predestination and man's free will. Whenever I come to those things, I see a piece of the puzzle missing. And I have to ask the question, and we'll get to this next time, I have to ask the question, is this something that God has kept secret and he's asking me to trust in him either way, even though I can't figure it out? Or is he telling me to figure it out? And there's a push we're going to make in our cataphatic theology as Westerners. I'm not saying cataphatic theology is wrong. I will tell you very much tomorrow that it is very important. It is a very important aspect to who we are as those who are created in God's image. But there's got to be some type of balance we got to strike. We're going to have to find that balance, and that is my purpose as we go through these next few sessions. This, like I said, this entire introduction to theology class, prolegomena, things you have to know beforehand. Are you getting it? Are you seeing why we need to know these things beforehand? Are you seeing how important they are, at least to conceive of and be able to put on the table where we are organizing how we are to structure our thoughts about God? This is what the early church did. They went through this, and we'll see a beautiful thing in the history of the church, and especially as we come down to modern theologies, that modern theologians do emphasize exactly what I'm talking about. I am presenting nothing new for the Eastern church early in church history, nothing new for the Western church. This is something they wrestled with. How can finite minds comprehend an infinite God? And this is the balance we're looking for. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this session. I mean, you probably get it. I love this. I love this subject. I love the excitement that it brings because of not just because we can know God, but because we can't. And there's a celebration that we'll get to, and I'll talk about that. I wrote a blog just recently on my Patreon. Again, if you go to Patreon, patreon.com, become a member, you can read all my blogs. I've written tons and tons. I keep on writing, post everything there, updates. That's the best place to support what I'm doing. I'd love for you to become a patron. But whenever you go to Patreon, you'll see a mystagogical celebration. That is the name of the blog post, and it has everything to do with what we're talking about and really the finality of what I'm going to try to get to. I'm going to try to get to the mystagogical celebration. And you'll have to hang out and wait to see what that means. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're you plan on keep on coming. I hope you like. I hope you give a review. I hope you share every one of those things, because they're very important for this to spread. So, and if this is your first time, love to have you here. It's so good to have you. But I'd love for you to back up and go all the way back to session 1. We're at 31, and I build one step at a time through all of theology. Okay, guys, we will catch you next time. Thank you once again for showing up. And I'm here every morning, on every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Central. If you want to catch it live, if you don't, just get it right afterwards on Spotify or on iTunes, wherever you get your podcast, or on YouTube, and watch it. Better watched than not, but I try to get it to where even if you're not watching it, you can get it. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow at the same time, same bat time, same bat place with my Wayne Enterprises. I'll wear my Wayne Enterprises green